We have Chad, the founder of Koios Medical, kicking us off. Welcome, Chad.
Hello, great to be here. Thanks for everybody to take the time. And hello, Gail. I'm a former Hyde Parker. Went to grad school on the north side, but lived in the south side of Chicago for quite a while. Wanted to share with you the Koios medical story by way of introduction. I'm a second generation radiology. People always ask, are you a radiologist? But my father was the chairman of the department of Yale, where he was responsible for bringing in the very first CT scanner in the US, the first PACS system in the US. So no stranger to the innovation that is now AI presenting an opportunity and challenge to radiology and imaging, both here in the US and around the world. And Koios is the leading provider of AI software for ultrasound exams and the detection and diagnosis of cancer. So we're all hearing about a lot of different things in AI. I'm coming to you live from the health conference where the whole auditorium behind me is predominantly AI. But I'm talking to you now specifically about computer vision. And computer vision is really the only AI that's out there that's achieved the Gartner hype cycle plateau of productivity. We started compiling data back in 2012, first FDA clearance in 2017, and it's a commercially available product that's out there in the marketplace today, impacting care and saving lives. And why is that important? Why is it important in computer vision? Because our eyes can play tricks on us. Physicians are in dark reading rooms looking through ultrasound exams. Just the same way you look at this wall, you may not realize that there's something right there under your nose that you can't unsee, but you needed some help finding it. And that's what happens in radiology today. An ultrasound exam is acquired oftentimes for fetal measurements or for OB purposes, for musculoskeletal purposes, for cardiac purposes, but it's also the standard of care for detecting and diagnosing two really important types of cancer, breast cancer and thyroid cancer. Physicians every day look at millions of images to try to determine just what in fact is that, friend or foe. And this is an example of what the software will do and determine that this is categorically a benign lesion, nothing to worry about, possibly just a cyst, and you're fine. But similarly, something could be very dangerous. So there could be cancer lurking, and humans are not nearly as accurate without the assistance of AI. So in a nutshell, that's what Koios does. And the problem we solve is an improvement in accuracy, which reduces overtreatment and helps catch many of those cancers that are missed on a daily basis. So those problems increase as incidence of cancer is going up. We're probably all reading about how cancer is prevalent in women younger and younger, and those women don't want to be radiated. Ultrasound image interpretation is challenging. There's been recently legislation passed that's driving women to ultrasound based on breast density. And there's a huge shortage of radiologists, not just here in the US, but around the world. And the accuracy means lives that could be more favorably impacted are not. Late stage cancers, and an interesting little known fact, the third leading cause of death in the US is medical errors. So fast forward, what is Koios? Koios is derived from Greek mythology. It was a Titan god of wisdom, foresight, and intellect. So this image is designed to answer a lot of questions that an investor would want to know. What's your distribution? Well, we ship on GE scanners. We're also working with the other majors. It's embedded into the workflow and it's available real time. We work backwards from the physicians and sonographers' pain points and built an embedded vendor agnostic solution that's driving clinical results. Simply put, it's the best software in the world for detecting and diagnosing cancer and ultrasound. We're creating a global ultrasound intelligence layer. And we even heard from a health minister describe it as you bring MRI accuracy at a fraction of the cost. We're already in place, being used, continued to be tested in more than half of the top cancer centers in the world. There's a lot of AI in other modalities. X-ray, CT, MR. We chose ultrasound because it's hard, but it's also standard of care. It's global. And we even through COVID, were able to acquire CPT codes. So this is a billable procedure. The market is massive and growing. The medical imaging AI market is expected to achieve a compound annual growth rate of over 20%. What is our market opportunity? Again, it's staggering. When you think about how many times women go in and men go in, and out of an abundance of caution, when in doubt, cut it out. But now with AI, you can provide an elevated level of care at a fraction of the cost. So we've got a great management team, lots of experts in the space from data science. Our founding engineers did face recognition for the Department of Defense. We have full-time sonographers on staff, as well as physicians. And how do we do it? We take images down to the pixel level, and we see patterns that humans are impossible to find, to see. This is the software literally running in real time. This is what typically would take a physician 4, 5, 6 minutes to dictate. We do in seconds. It's integrated on the machine, and it exports into all the primary reporting systems. How accurate is it? There's 12 peer-reviewed published journal articles, and we've lost count of the number of abstracts. It improves accuracy and reduces variability, which is the criticism of ultrasound. We do robust tests, not 3, not 4. We'll do 15 physicians when we submit our application to the FDA. And we find that before you use AI, your variability is high, your accuracy is low, and then everyone gets better using AI. And they also get back the gift of time. It's not just accuracy, but there's a time famine, and this helps address the resource shortage. We're hearing it in the trade literature that you're probably not seeing, but it's a predominant theme. It's a flexible subscription model, can be on scanner only, and we're currently negotiating national deals with some of the biggest names in radiology at this very moment. The special sauce during COVID, when if you weren't selling chest x-rays or PPE, you had to stay quiet. We worked closely with the American College of Radiology. They petitioned the AMA, and we are one of the leading billable AI technologies available today. The adoption is widespread, the best of the best, both domestically and overseas. We're currently deployed in 40 countries. And like I said, the traction that we've experienced since we were able to wake back up and hospitals could start thinking about new investments is pretty impressive. We see a 5-year forecast as well. That's very exciting. Yes, of course, we face challenges and risks. This is very new. They've never seen it before. Haven't been trained this way. I like to say that it's similar to when the math teachers were protesting the use of calculators, or when accountants were protesting spreadsheets. The less I talk, the more successful we are, because we have physicians now around the world who speak to the benefits of using AI every day in their clinical practice. They even describe it as a very powerful moment the first time they see it, and they can't unsee it, and they start using it every day. This investment opportunity through the crowd round is side by side with institutions, strategic institutions that have funded this round, but we kept getting physicians from around the world to ask questions like, when are you going public? How can I invest? So we made this WeFunder available to angels, physicians, individuals, friends, family, all touched by cancer, wanting to be part of an innovation, and also wanting to not just have a social, but a potential upside for this exciting development. This is what I mentioned about why can you still get an opportunity to invest? It's because we have the opportunity to democratize, and we want to make this available to people and not just exclusive to the select few in the medtech VC world. And I'll close by saying this is coming. Patients are asking for it. Patients are literally asking for an AI second opinion. With that, thank you very much. Happy to field any and all questions.
Thanks, Chad. I've got a couple that I'll go first, and then I think Katie and Nick will take audience questions. So my first question is, it looks like you've been around for 9 years. Is that correct?
We started acquiring data in 2012. We had the first commercial read in 2018.
Okay. And so have you always been AI focused or have you pivoted along the way?
100%. This was computer vision from day one.
Okay. And did you already get an FDA approval?
We're FDA cleared 3 times. Our first FDA clearance was 2017. First commercial read was 2018. Have since been back through the FDA a number of times with new and updated engines. And we also have CE marks. So we're distributed all across Europe. We're also cleared in Canada, Saudi, Brazil, and many others.
And so what is your annual revenue?
Right now, we anticipate 2024 will be closing in the 2 to 2.5, up from about 300, 325 last year.
Okay. And then what do you think your projections would be from a financial perspective? So how much revenue do you think you can make in 25 and in 26?
I'm going to go right to that. So we're projecting 25 will be in the 5 to 8 million range, 26, 9 to 15. It's a pretty wide range because we've got some very large government level tenders that could be pretty considerable in terms of top line contributions.
Okay. From an efficacy standpoint, do you have any A/B tests where you've looked at using your solution versus not using your solution in a clinical setting?
Right here, exactly right. That's how we get through the FDA and all those validations. The nice thing about imaging is you can back test it. You can pull a sample of cases all tied to pathology. This is 15 radiologists all analyzing 900 cases without AI. There's a washout period. They randomly give them the same cases again. So it's the same doctors, same cases. So it's a very controlled experiment and study. And we track exactly how accurate they are across that same sample of 900 cases, read twice, with AI, without AI. And it's a substantial improvement. It's over about a 13% improvement for our thyroid product, almost as low as 6%, sometimes more, depends on the radiologist. But it's clearly the physician in the loop, AI-assisted diagnosis that dramatically reduces the number of missed cancers. And you'll see about a 30 to 40% reduction in overtreatment, the scheduling of the biopsy that comes back benign. 4 out of 5 biopsies right now come back benign for breast cancer. It's over 90% for a thyroid fine needle aspiration. Incredibly costly, incredibly stressful, downstream implications. We're modeling this out with Optum United Health right now, and they said had Koios been in place in the practices owned by Optum over the last year, it would have saved them $60 million, 60.
So my last question is on the go-to-market side. What is your process for selling?
So as you saw, it's installed on GE systems. So right behind me upstairs, GE has a big booth, and they're showing their innovations in AI on the GE Logic system series of ultrasound scanners. You turn it on and you see the owl button. So we have GE salespeople around the world, literally from Singapore to the Middle East, all through Europe, North America, and South America. We also have partnerships with Philips. We also have local distributors, and we also integrate with PACS. So when a physician, depending on where they are in the world, oftentimes the physician will do the scanning of the patient and want a real-time read interpretation at the point of image acquisition. We deliver that in 2 seconds. Other institutions like RadNet here in the US have sonographers. Those sonographers acquire the images. They're able to acquire far less data because they've learned what the AI needs. It doesn't need a 30-minute exam. They're able to reduce their exam time down to 15 or 20 minutes, feed the AI system, and then we produce a sample finding. So we have PACS companies, we have distributors, and we have the major OEMs where we've embedded the software that are also our front line for lead gen. I'm fortunate that I get to, depends on how you look at it, fortunate, but almost every week, somewhere around the world, there's a conference where GE and Philips are inviting us or our physicians to attend and present both the findings and the efficiency.
If it's this prevalent from a distribution perspective, why aren't the revenues higher?
Because through COVID, 2 things. Through COVID, they had no budget. Second, everyone in the industry requires at least 6 months or a year of trying it in your own backyard. So the other presentations we'll talk about the ethical and responsible deployment of AI. So I'll use Kaiser, for example. I'll use RadNet, for example. But for the last 9 months, RadNet has analyzed 27,000 suspicious thyroid nodules and haven't paid a dollar yet because they need to prove it on their patient population, in their technical ecosystem, on their systems, and with their physicians. They've also been waiting for payment to come from reimbursement. We didn't get a CPT code until January of 2022. So we're just now seeing the benefit of physicians getting paid to use the software. Roughly 50% of the private payers in the major New York metro area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, are paying for the use of Koios. So you push the button, you submit a claim, and you get reimbursement. So there's payment and coverage. It's a local market determination. And it depends on the payer, the patient, and how much the practice actually decides they want to charge for the procedure. But it is a software as a medical device that creates a billable procedure. And when we export it to the report, we include the CPT code and the billing language such that they can generate a claim.
Cool. Yeah, I think Nick has 1 or 2 questions from our VIP audience.
Yep.
Terrific.
So the first one is you're positioning your AI solution across both breast and thyroid cancer detection. How do you decide on these initial focus areas, and what guides your thinking about expanding into other diagnostic applications?
Great question. So what guides us was initially some physicians came to our founding engineers and said, you use face recognition. Can you look at ultrasound exams? And it was specifically women who diagnosed themselves with cancer because they had dense tissue. And mammograms are useless for finding cancer in dense tissue. So we started with breast ultrasound exams. And immediately, as we started working with physicians, proving the efficacy, they said, wow, if you can do this for breast, we'd really love it if you could do it for thyroid. So we've put our ear to the ground. We listened to the market. We listened to our users, and our users have been our guide. So we crowdsource data from around the world. We crowdsource physician input, and our roadmap is ready to go to add lymph node, liver, other disease states where ultrasound is standard of care. It's the primary modality for specific conditions. So that's how as we look ahead in the next year or two, that's what we anticipate coming behind breast and thyroid.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chad. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.